from there, education-wise, I'm still taking classes off and on, but it's not working too well for me to do that. I have a 2-hour commute in the morning and a 2-hour commute at night. I have a son, right, and a husband who's not about it. In fact, he didn't bother me, so that's worth some telling later. But I spent 4 years in Wyoming, getting to know some people, knowing I had known them before, but you know that deja vu kind of a feeling you have when you go someplace or you meet someone and you don't know why you're having that feeling. So some of that was going on. After I left there, I had been invited by my family to come back and help with a family business. And I opted to go into Oregon first for 6 months to one brother and spend some time there to transition. I had no intention of leaving Wyoming, but when the messages are clear, you got to do it. And I was fighting it and things went south. So anyhow, after that, I did spend 2 years back in my hometown, and really learned a lot about myself and my own growth. Now, I did not want to go back there. I will tell you that being raised in a family of 7 men, my dad included, was what I would have termed the worst experience of my life. I mean, I got beaten up. I got all kinds of abuse. And in fact, my poor mother, I wouldn't wear dresses after the age of 5, period. She tried to get me to play with dolls and to wear dresses, and I wouldn't have anything to do with it. And all of the reasons for that I had no clue about until I got much older and went through some hypnotherapy classes, in which case everything becomes pretty clear. So I did do that, and when I was through with that and had an inkling that I was getting down to the end of that, so this also started a new thing for me. When I was getting down to the end of that job, I said, I wonder what's next. I wonder what's in store for me. And synchronistically, some new things started popping up. I always thought I would become a PT or something in the medical range. Now, I've never had any medical experience. Well, that's not entirely true, but when a family of 10 people, something always is happening. All the way from my brother stepped on a darning needle with yarn in it, and the end with the yarn on it went in and the needle point was sticking out. So that required a little bit of surgery, and I'm the one that took him there and actually got to watch them do that. But anyhow, fun little story. Things are always happening in a large family. It can be quite fun and very entertaining. But all of a sudden, I had my brother, one of my brothers, who's a PA, said to me, I think you should become a massage therapist. I looked at him like, aren't you kind of nuts? And he said, look, you don't want to be a PT. That means you got to set up an office. You're stuck in one place. And he said, that's not you. So isn't that interesting? Somebody saw it before I think I even did. Some of those things show up because somebody points it out to you. After I'd had my son and I was living down in the Seattle area, this is before I left, went to Wyoming, came back to Washington, Oregon, and then Washington. My son, who was a little, like maybe 2 at the time, and that brother and my mother and I were all out for breakfast, coffee or breakfast, and I was saying, I don't really understand my value. And that brother said to me, he said, how can you say that, sis? He said, there isn't any one of us that doesn't call you for advice when we need something solid for that. And I just looked at him, and Mom said, yeah, he's right. I call you for advice. Well, it's how I've always been. I always want to help people. And that's what my channel is all about. So my business is Mind Your Body Therapies. My channel is Your Soul Matters, because we're souls having this experience. Not everybody wants to think that or believe it. And I'm not here to well, I want you to consider it. I'm not here to change your mind or to make you believe anything you don't want to believe. But we all have, and science now knows, we all have a particular gene in us that they're calling the quantum gene, and it is for me the God gene. It's the aspect of us that is quantum. It is the aspect of humanity within our genetic structure that is connected with our source, with God, our creator. So you've heard me talk about that if you've listened at all to my channel. But my channel is all about us being more than we realize or think we are, and what that means. And basically what it means is within us, we have abilities and capabilities that when we come to a curious aspect within ourselves about what is going on, why would that happen? Why would somebody say something? Why why did that happen to me? Why am I questioning that? Whatever it is, and we do this all the time. We are two people. We're our egoic self, which is what knows whatever it knows based on experience, or what we've been told and believed, or the constraints that we've put around ourselves so that we don't have to step outside and question things and be afraid. There's a little bit of work involved. I don't find it to be any work now. In fact, I find it to be very interesting, because whenever we start asking the unseen forces that are around us, that are God's helpers on our behalf, you're going to start getting answers. So that's what my channel is about. It's about, through my experiences, and there have been many, my whole life has really been filled with all kinds of things. And I'm here. This channel is here to help in whatever way it can, to answer any questions, to steer in a certain direction, to say, if it's not working, then why don't you look at this possibility over here, or this possibility over. People are all different. Every single one of us is unique. We all have gifts, we all have talents, and we all have abilities, and they don't have to be, not all of us is Gandhi or Mother Teresa. Heaven knows I'm not Mother Teresa, that's for sure. I'm a curious person, but the clues are within you about your soul's purpose, and about how our job here to help turn this planet back around, to have us become loving, kind, compassionate, caring people. So this channel incorporates my life experiences in order to help people to shift away from fear, step into a little bit of the unknown. It doesn't have to be a great big massive pit. It can be one step that takes you in a little different direction, or outside the comfort zone, or just to face, instead of facing this direction, to look over your shoulder and then turn that way and see what it is all about. And some things don't work real well. My son said, I when he went to college, he said, I just am not getting this class. And I said, well, there's a couple things that we can do about it. But first I said, are you in school are you taking that class because you know that material? material? And he said, no. And I said, well, that's right. The teacher, you need to have conversations with the teacher that you're not getting clarity about it, and see if the teacher can help give you some clarity. And I said, if that's not working, then we can arrange for a tutor to help you, move in a direction in order that material comes to you. So to me, it's like being a baker. Some people are no good at it at all. I am not the domestic model. I don't sew. I don't knit. I can probably stitch up something, but it ain't gonna be pretty. And so don't come to me for that. I'll steer you over here to the seamstress or tailor or whatever it is you need. And the same way, you already know this. If you need financial help, you seek it out from an expert, or if you're wanting to go on vacation. And the internet, of course, is full of information these days, but you look up stuff on the internet. You get out there and you get curious. I'm suggesting you start getting curious about what's going on in here, because we're getting nudged all the time. We are getting, moved in a certain direction. And to be honest, resistance is futile. So if you're swimming upstream about something, then you're swimming against what is designed for you to be, which means that's what you would do. So if I'm designed to be a teacher and I'm staying home with a house full of kids, I'm going to be frustrated, or I'm going to start teaching the kids. And maybe I'm even teaching the whole neighborhood of kids every time I step out the door and they're doing something, and I'm steering them to something that's going to have them learn in a different way for them, or steer them away from a certain behavior. We're all designed. You came here with something already planned for yourself, so don't fight it. The only reason for fighting it is fear. The only reason for any resistance is because you don't know what you're going to encounter. But I promise you, if you will allow it, it will be pretty wonderful for you. It'll be very powerful and amazing. So that's a little bit about my channel. The unseen forces to me are your inner guidance. We all have guardian angels. We have the archangels are out there, and these are real beings. We have a soul, right? A soul, and we've got a center of the will, which is right here. If you aren't able to speak back or speak up, then this gets blocked because you're avoiding your will. Now, I'm not saying will is force. Will is my desire. It is my will, which meets the bigger me, the bigger self of me, to accomplish something, to do something. It's my will to do that. Most of us, are afraid of being selfish. Well, selfless is okay, but in order to be selfless, you have to learn how to love yourself. And in order to love yourself, you have to get a little selfish. You have to be able to say no. You have to be able to say, not at this time, let's plan something else. You have to be able to step back and not take on everything that comes your way. And I spent 30, 40 years of my life trying to please everybody, and the only way to do that was to say yes as much as I could. And it took a long time for the real me to start rebelling and getting sick and saying, you can't do this. You have to. But I didn't understand that I had a lot of suppressed feelings and emotions. In fact, I didn't even really know how to think about myself. that has really been my greatest challenge. People think, because I packed up and went to Wyoming, left my son with his dad, that was very willful. In fact, it wasn't. It was following the compass, following the guidance. And when you're doing that, you lighten up. You get so excited. You're happy. And it's hard on other people because they've come to know you in a certain way. They have expectations of you in certain ways of being and doing things. And so I just seem to be one of those people that when I know something is right for me, I'm now hot on it. So anyhow, that's kind of me. The other thing I want you to know a little bit about is that our lives and our health, our work, our relationships, our relationship to ourselves, to others, our family members, our bosses, our neighbors, everything is a 3-part deal. So, everything starts with a thought. So I call that, it depends on if it's inspired thought or if it's coming from a place of, I could save my little arse if I said yes to that. I've done that a time or two. Don't tell me you haven't. But yeah, if you're trying to save yourself, then, that can be one way of, being willful. But when we have a thought that's inspired, it seems to come from the inside and then we then let it mull around in our heads. And if we aren't afraid of it, and how many times have you let it go and go and go, but it won't go away? That is inspired from the inside out. That's your inner compass, your inner guidance system saying, when are you going to get on that? I'm not going to let it go until you, go take a look at that or think about that. My son he was just a handful of credits away from a degree in business. And he'd been like that for 6 or 7 years, just wasn't sure, obviously to me. I said, well, it's not the right course of action for him. So anyhow, at one point then, when, I don't know if you remember back, and I'm terrible with dates, but when the banks failed and when real estate tanked, everything seemed to be collapsing in on itself. Well, he realized he couldn't stay what he was doing. And so he went with his friends somewhere and they all, and he crashed for a while. Several months went by and he just did not know what to do. And we would chat, he would call me for different things, and he was telling me about this, and at the end of it, I said, well, son, it seems like it's time for you to ask that inner guidance system what it would have you do. And he said, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. Now, I've been strange, sort of a spiritual lesson. I'm going to say strange is not the right, well, lots of people would call me strange anyway, but, and it doesn't bother me, but different. I'm not the, follow that trail until it's 3 feet deep. I've got a little trench going on there. I'm a trailblazer. I go do my thing. But he said, I hadn't thought about that. And I don't know, 10 days go by and he calls me back and he said, you're never going to believe what I'm going to tell you. And I said, oh, now I'm excited. And he said, I have never had a medical thought in my head. And he said, I can't get this thought out of my head. I want to be, and he told me what it was. And he was so excited. That's what I want you to know about your inner compass, that inner guidance system. When you're walking this path and you're bumping up against it, you're swimming against the stream, you can't get pretty soon you just can't even get the boat to go that direction. And you stop and ask, what is it I should be doing here? It'll come to you. It will come to you. I don't want you to be necessarily desperate, but yeah, I think he was a little desperate. But and now that happened in October, and I will tell you how motivated by the end of December, Christmas. I mean, people are taking vacations and things are closing up for a while. He had researched the best school for the thing that he wanted to do. He always loved sports medicine. And so, doing all of those kinds of things, what credits he needed to get in order to get into school. He had to have all the sciences. He didn't have hardly any sciences. And by the end of December, he had that all tracked up, found the school he wanted to go, had submitted his transcripts to the school, and they had said, you need to get your sciences. They figured it was going to take about a year, and it took a little bit less, right? Or we'll just say around a year of night school, working in night school and weekends, and he was in that school. And then while he was in it, the 5-year or 6-year curriculum for that, he did in 4, and at 3.5, I said, and it was summer break for everybody, I said, son, don't you want to take some time off here and, just get a fresh perspective? And he said, Mom, what am I going to do? Sell coffee at da-da-da-da-da? And he said, no. He said, I need to get done with this and get on with, a real career and start earning some money. And so he stayed with it. He finished it. He finished it with extra degrees and he got so much stuff in that amount of time. It was amazing. That's what I want to tell you. When you get excited about something, that is you picking up and going on your right path. So what are we? This comes to another piece of what is all involved here. In order for us to have really healthy, productive lives, we have to incorporate 3 things. And if you do, you'll find it as an easier road. It's an easier path to follow. If you don't, it's fine. You're going to have some things along the way, but we are, because we're a soul having a human experience, we need to have a spiritual life. And for me, one of the Edgar Cayce readings, Edgar Cayce was a well-known, well-documented, 15,000 or more readings. There's 14,000 something that are documented. There were way more than that burnt and gotten rid of. But the point is, he said it is every human's birthright to have a one-on-one relationship with your God, your creator, our source. And so you need to have a spiritual life. Act as if I drive down the road with my hand sometimes out for my guide who's sitting by me, and I now can feel that the energy, because that's all it is energy. And I say thank you for being with me, for the protection, for your guidance, your inspiration, all of those things. But you have to act as if that there is that in your life. And when you act as if, when you ask, what should I be doing, the answer will come. And so a rich spiritual life. Be happy for this unseen thing that's bigger than you or me, that's working on your behalf for you to have a profoundly wonderful life. Then mind is the builder. So, okay, we've got our source guiding us. And now how do I interpret that? That's the mind. And so if you start with mind is the builder, physical is the result, that's the third piece, is physical, you're going to find that you're going to manifest only from your thoughts. And we are energy systems. We are little bundles of energy bouncing around, and you cannot destroy energy. It can change form, but it cannot be destroyed. So spirit is the life, mind is the builder, physical is the result. What you think is what you're going to create. When you have God guiding you, your source, Buddha, Yahweh, whatever you call it, it's all that energy of our Creator, then your thoughts are going to steer you in a direction that is appropriate for you, and you're going to know it. It feels good. And you do. It isn't that we're not going to bump up against things. We live in this physical world, and we've got to, we have to, we got to pay the rent and fix the car and get the winter socks out, and or boots, buy boots or whatever it is, or take the vacation. You've got to balance your lives. So I'll repeat it. Spirit is the life. Mind is your builder. Physical is the result. And I have several examples that I can prove to you that is so. I've had so much, and I don't talk about this because then people go, oh my God, this is never about my story, ever. It is about what's behind it, what's the motivation behind it. But I had cancer at age 4 and almost lost my leg. Well, the bone, they were able to shave it. And this is all the way back in the 50s. My mom had to beg him to save the leg. Normally they would just cut it off, right? And so it was saved, but everything grew back and embedded itself in the bone, pulled, and so then I fell off a motorcycle and broke my pelvis, and then I had a crushed right leg and split the kneecap, and then I had broken bones all over the place. I had cancer in the breast, and all manner of things going on. This body should not be able to walk, and it does, but God is my source, my substance, and my supply, takes care of everything. And so with God as your source, I just say, what do I need? So I very rarely go to the doctor. I don't have a need to do that. It's not that I haven't had to, but very rarely have a need, especially from in my 20s on. I just ask my inner guidance system, what do I need here? In fact, I have somebody I go see periodically for acupuncture and that sort of thing. I always say, something's going on with my liver. He said, how do you know that? I said, I don't know. But as he does his thing using Eastern philosophies and other integrative things, he always says, yeah, you're right. There's a communication broken between the liver. And so anyhow, you get to know these things the more you practice. So those 3 things make for a healthy life, a healthy body. The body needs movement, needs nourishing substances. Stay away from, you already know I don't want to get into the diet thing, but there is a diet that's alkalizing, and when the blood pH is alkaline, more alkaline than acid, alkalines up a little bit, acids down here. 7.0 is neutral, but 7.365 for the blood pH. No thing harmful can live in an alkaline environment, period. And that's scientifically proven many, many times. And so ask me questions about that. And so I'm also setting up a new channel that isn't going to be ready now for about 3 or 4 months. And it is the body, mind, spirit connection. So if you've got something going on with arthritis or a broken bone, all the different things that I've had, most all of that has straightened itself out, doing certain things. And so you just find ways that when you start integrating your life with the spiritual aspect of it, things begin to really start falling into place. It's a pretty wonderful thing. So after leaving the city and going to Wyoming and coming back, I went to the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach. Now that's an Edgar Cayce, the psychic I was talking about, facility and foundation at the world's largest metaphysical library. He's known as the father of holistic medicine, and it's basically what I practice for myself. I don't, very rarely, I think in the last 40 years I've had antibiotics twice. I stay very healthy. I rarely get colds. I had triple pneumonia, but that's a story because I was trying to jump ship and didn't want to be here, and we can talk about that sometime. I've been seriously depressed, and I've had lots and lots going on, right? So anyhow, I have experienced just about everything you can imagine, but it's one of the things that makes me the spiritual advisor that I am. I've been through sexual abuse. I've been through, broken bones, being beaten up, and other things. I've been through verbal abuse. In fact, things were so severe that I've run away twice. But it suppresses who you really are, and you want to shine. You want to get out there and shine. Absolutely. So, okay, so that's quite a bit about me. The other thing I want you to know is I have a website. I have this YouTube channel. I'm developing another YouTube channel that will be called Ask CJ. You'll begin seeing things about it, but I just want you to know you can ask me anything now. Just put it in the comments. If it requires a lengthy conversation, then you and I can talk about what that might cost. And I'm not anybody who's ever going to deny anybody who has the money. In fact, some of my clients when they want to know if they could write a check, I'll just say, is there money in the bank? Now I can tell if you're lying. And if they looked at me funny and said yes, then I'd say, then write a check. I'm integrity, your honesty and integrity, and your love, joy, peace, truth, trust, and harmony. You got all these attributes. You got to start letting them loose, letting them go play and run wild. Anyhow, what I can do. I am a master hypnotherapist, so any addictions, behavior modifications, life between life work, soul integrations, the life of the soul. How did you choose this life? What did you want to accomplish and do here? I'm a remote healer. I'm a master teacher of energy healing, and I can do that right from here when I know where you are. Then I can send energy to you that will heal and take care of several things. I'm a spiritual advisor, and when I say spiritual, the reason I say that is because remember I just said spirit is the life, mind is the builder, physical is the result. And normally people come to me with a problem, and so then we backtrack it. What's missing? What's the missing piece here? Because you can have, I'm going to tell you a little story, and this was one of the readings of Edgar Cayce's that really got my attention. A man had cancer, late 50s, I believe, maybe 60, and he was being treated for it, and there is a healing protocol for cancer. It's all natural, all holistic. And after a couple of years, he went into remission, and he stayed in remission. And 3-4 years go by, and he wrote another letter in to Mr. Cayce and said, I was doing so well. Why am I not in remission anymore? The cancer is back. And the reading came back from Archangel Michael. And it said, until you stop talking to your wife like that, you've received all the healing you can get. So remember, a spiritual life means we're kind, we're loving, we're generous, we're forgiving. We are, humble. We are all kinds of things first. And in being that is what we project out into the world, is all that goodness. We're in chaos here on this planet. There's all kinds of harm being perpetrated upon us. And one of the things I did want to mention is I want to do once or twice a week. Once a week, I think I'll start with that. A meditation for and visualization for a healthy planet, for healthy people, for healthy minds, for healthy bodies, so that we can start putting that out into the world. And the more that we do that, the bigger and stronger that grows. So those are some of the things about me. I've done a lot of different things in my life. In fact, I have all those brothers, right? And my dad was a private pilot, and he couldn't get any of the boys to fly with him. And so I became a pilot when I was way too young, 15. And I stayed flying for quite a while. I've done a lot of fun and strange things because, like I say, I'm the adventure model. So anyhow, I'm going to leave you pretty much with that. Thank you for joining me. I am so happy to be here. This is, I want to be answering your questions. So please leave me some comments and let me know where you're from. And I promise you I will get back with every single one of them to the best of my ability. And anything you want to know about me, my website, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, all of that is listed down below. And I'm I'm here for you. That's my sole purpose in life, to be here for you. Thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe. And until we meet again, thank you.